Sri Lankan President Anura Dissanayake will begin his India tour today, marking his first overseas visit after assuming office. President Dissanayake will be accompanied by Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath and Deputy Minister of Finance Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma. During the three-day visit, President Dissanayake will meet his Indian counterpart Draupadi Murmu and also hold talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday, while External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will call on the visiting dignitary on Sunday evening. Dr. Ahmed Faruqi now joins us live from Colombo in Sri Lanka. Dr. Ahmed, as is the tradition, India is the first port of call for the newly elected Sri Lankan president. How would you describe the priorities of either side for the visit?
Very good morning to you, Manu, and to all our viewers across the world. Yes, you see, this visit is a very important visit for both countries. Both countries had had fresh elections this year, and there are new governments in place on both sides. But it is very crucial for Sri Lanka also because Sri Lanka is making efforts to recover from the economic crisis, the peak of which was seen in 2020. And that was a time when India had come to the aid of Sri Lanka by providing a huge $4.5 billion humanitarian assistance, which managed, because of which Sri Lanka managed to stay afloat, and thereafter also provided financing assurances to IMF so that Sri Lanka could secure a $2.9 billion bailout. Now, with this as the background, it is very important to note here that over the last 10 years, under neighborhood first policy of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the relations between India and Sri Lanka have grown from strength to strength. However, in addition to that, as we have entered into Amrit Kal, and Sri Lanka also makes its efforts towards its period towards a centenary since its independence, there are possibilities that this growth trajectory between the bilateral relations will continue to be in the same upward tick. And in this direction, this visit will mark a very important chapter because this will take forward the bilateral relations between the two countries to the next step. That said, the development projects that exist between India and Sri Lanka, that will probably be a very important part of the discussions today. In addition to that, we are also expecting certain discussions with regard to how India could further help Sri Lanka in its economic front as well.
Right. Also, Dr. Ahmed, considering the history of Dissanayake's party and stances on certain specific issues, how do you think both sides will navigate their ties from this visit onwards?
You see, the history is something which has always marred the image of JVP. But President Dissanayake is not representing merely JVP; he is representing National People's Power, of which JVP is an important component. However, he has mentioned that all history apart, his government is looking at making efforts towards making a better Sri Lanka, and towards this, they have acknowledged that India is very central to the entire region as well as for Sri Lanka's foreign policy. In fact, in the policy book, which was brought out by NPP just before the elections, they have maintained that they recognize India's sovereign interest and they would not want any foreign power to utilize Sri Lanka's territorial spaces or airspace or land or waters which could be of a detrimental interest to any country, including and especially India. So this goes a long way in reinforcing the kind of relations which Sri Lanka's new government also wants to see with India. In fact, it has to be remembered here that High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, was the first foreign diplomatic head in Sri Lanka who visited and met President Dissanayake after his victory. In addition to that, we also have to remember here that India's External Affairs Minister was the first ever foreign minister who came to Sri Lanka, met the president as well as his government officials, and he was the first foreign affairs minister from any country to have done so after the new government was put in place here in Sri Lanka. And this talks a lot with regard to how India is seen as an important partner for Sri Lanka, and this is also reinforced with the way that the tradition of making India the first port of call is continued by the new president as well.
Right, Dr. Ahmed Faruqi reporting from Colombo in